You filed your LLC paperwork, got your EIN, and think your personal assets are now protected. But here's what your entity formation company may not be telling you. You might be destroying that protection every single day without even realizing it. I'm about to show you the 3 most costly mistakes that could leave you personally liable for everything. I'm attorney Jonathan Feniak. Our company has helped form over 70,000 LLCs and corporations for our clients. I've seen these mistakes destroy the asset protection for countless business owners. You're probably making at least one of them right now. Mistake number 1 is you're co-mingling business funds with personal funds. Example, you're at Target, you pull out the business bank card and buy supplies for the company with that business bank card. That's a good thing. But then you throw in some bananas, some groceries, maybe a dress for yourself or a suit. Those kinds of things show that you are co-mingling business funds with your personal funds. So there's a real consequence to this, because if your books and records are inspected, it's going to show that you use the business as your personal bank account. Don't do it. The quick fix is really a strict separation between your personal assets and your business assets. On that business card should be a perfect record and representation of everything you're purchasing related to the business. If you do make a mistake, and sometimes mistakes happen, don't try to hide it. That's an important part of this. What you do is you make meeting minutes and say inadvertently the member charged a personal expense on the business credit card or debit card. That should be treated as a distribution to the member. No big deal. If you hide it though and someone comes and looks later, well, that could be a problem. So remember, every time you swipe the card, you're putting something in a permanent record related to your company's finances. And if you don't respect that company card and its finances, you are putting a crack in your LLC shield. Mistake number 2, you don't have any records. You're not keeping business records. And this one is a silent killer, because it's something you don't do that can really hurt you in the long run. So you don't have an operating agreement for the company. Most people think, well, I got a single member LLC. Do I need an operating agreement? Yes, you should have one, right? It shows that this is a real company. You're not documenting business decisions is another problem, right? Are you exercising business judgment when you hire a contractor, or are you just doing it because they're your buddy? Another thing is having informal agreements or contracts, you can call them contracts, with third parties. Whether you're hiring that subcontractor or you're entering into a business relationship to buy goods or supplies, there should be something in writing that makes it clear who's entering into the agreement. Is it your company or is it you as an individual? That can raise questions later on. Real world example here was a client of mine hired a subcontractor who was not authorized to do a particular kind of work. They didn't have the proper licensing. They didn't have the proper permits. And what wound up happening is years later, their client, their end user client, came back and sued them. And because they could not show that they made a business decision in hiring this contractor, it was their friend, they wound up being personally liable. It wasn't protected by the limited liability protection. So it's really important. If an action you're taking, an agreement you're entering into could result in liability, I'm not talking about buying a pencil from Office Depot. I'm talking about things that could result in you getting sued. You should have a written agreement in place with that contractor or with that third party, and you should have meeting minutes which show that you made a business decision related to choosing that contractor. So the LLC is only as strong as your paper trail. I like to say that it's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. And so if you got a big stack of documents showing all the decisions you made and you never need them, that's a win. You didn't get sued. If you do get sued, you've got the backup documentation to get you out of hot water. Mistake number 3. This one, it's sort of blown out of proportion, but it has to do with single member LLCs. You're super vulnerable. Why is that? Because most people who have single member LLCs don't do the things that I'm recommending you do in 1 and 2, right? They tend to commingle the expenses. They're spending money out of the business bank account for personal purposes. They're sort of, going a little lackadaisical on contracts and record keeping. And those who are coming after you know it. So a single member LLC does have a higher likelihood of the veil being pierced and the owner being held personally responsible, but it's not something inherent in a single member LLC. It's really because those single member LLCs, there's no one else they're accountable to, right? Who should I keep records for? For myself? No, you're doing it for the asset protection to make sure the limited liability protection holds. If you have a partner, then it's less likely you're buying groceries out of the business bank account because they're going to come and say, hey, what the heck? If you've got a business partner, you're likely to consult with them and have a meeting about important decisions. And so being a solo owner doesn't mean you're in more danger. It just means you need to be more diligent, not running your LLC as if just having the LLC is enough, because it's not. You need to keep business records just like you had a partner who was looking over your shoulder. Now that you understand that even a well-run LLC could still be vulnerable, it's really important to think about what more can you do. And here's the thing, even a perfectly structured LLC could put you at risk. That's why sophisticated investors are forming holding companies to give themselves a double layer of protection. This is particularly important if you're in a state that has weak LLC laws, where a veil piercing could be more likely. So I'll show you exactly here in this guide how to decide if a holding company structure is right for you, how to structure your business the way bigger companies do without the complex and expensive legal fees that they're likely paying.